Somebody gonna count me off? 1, 2, 3. Was that kind of off? Whatever. I'm gonna bring the bass line in. You know, anytime somebody's talking about a funk song, they're like, you know, you might even hear them try to kind of say the words kind of choppy. You should be able to do this with your mouth first before you try it on guitar. You got to do it that way. All right. Let's do this first one. All right, so this 1 + 1 + 1 = 3. Let's just talk about it for a brief minute, okay? Some of y'all don't like a lot of talking, but people gotta explain stuff, okay? All right, funk. Funk is, you know, even though it is a rhythm, it is a feeling. Think of it as a feeling. You know, a lot of people associate rhythm with funk, and that is important, you know, but it is a feeling. As far as the notes, feeling. Rhythm is extremely important, and if you're off, you're like in the wrong place. Okay. Period. So I think of funk, typically it has a minor kind of a sound, typically. A lot of musicians, or not even musicians, but ideally, the dominant seventh chord is kind of associated with the type of color and tension that it works with a minor sound a lot of times. So the dominant seventh deviation coming back into a minor chord is oftentimes utilized when playing funk. So either funk is like straight minor, nothing deviating, or sometimes, you know, there's a deviation, dominant seventh sound into the minor, and then dominant seventh sound deviation away, and then coming back to the minor. You know what I'm saying? So like if you were to think about it, this song is C. Okay. 3rd fret, A string. Okay, so you can think, which is like really like a C minor add 9 type, or you can come here. You can go here. Some would think of that as a C7 sus2, technically, but I'm going for a minor 7/9 type of sound in that context. So I'm thinking minor. So if you were to think about a scale, think like pentatonic-ish, but it's not really a pentatonic. It's like, so you're in that C position, which is the 8th fret of your E string. So you're thinking that kind of, you're thinking that type of sound, not necessarily. I mean, people won't look at you crazy, but it's more so. It's more so that, okay? And if you do any of the pentatonic, not pentatonic, but chromatic stuff, you could think, you could go here. You could do that. You could do that. Okay. So think like that. Okay. And as far as on this D, G, and B string, that's like a, you know, like I said, you know, like a triad that you're playing on the 8th fret on the D, G, and B string. It's like it's a major triad, but there is a major triad inside of a minor 7th chord. And that middle note on the G, you can like chromatically move it to the 7th fret, which is the 2 of a C minor chord or C major. That's a 2. And then, but if you go here, that's like a, you know, major triad, but it's still referencing that. And on the G string, you can move it like 1 fret chromatically up. So you got that. So as far as like chucking and stuff like that, that's kind of like what you would think. Also on the 3rd fret, the G, B, and E string, 3rd fret, same notes. Well, right here. So on the 3rd fret, G, B, E string, 3rd fret, you might hear that minor triad right here. So on the B string, you're going to the 4th fret right there. And then on the 5th fret on the B string, you might just know those are notes that you can kind of pick out of. But mostly what you hear is in this position, you hear this one. That's mostly what you hear. But when you're in this position, you're going to hear just because it's easily accessible, you hear that hammer on to the dominant 7th. You'll hear that quite a bit. So it a lot of times depends on what position you're in. Okay. So, and another part is, I literally started this video back over and started recording it, and I'm taking the same amount of time to get started. Hey, that's just what it is. If you want to know, you'll stick around. So, think the scale that I showed you already. Keep that in mind, but also down here. So these are like important. Same notes down here. It's just down an octave. Same notes. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of go, you know, I need to get started. So I'm going to start these licks. All right. And here's the track. Turn it up a little bit. All right. Now, rhythm wise, it's very important. And again, this is 1 + 1 + 1 = 3. 1 + 1 + 1 = 3 by Prince. So think rhythm wise, you're not doing this. That's not wrong. It's just you want to kind of bounce with it. Like a slight bounce. It ain't got to be totally swung, but you know. You know what I'm saying? So that's one important part. If you James Brown, 4. You know what I'm saying? So let's start with this sound right here. And we're going to start with like one, like single notes at first, okay? So let's just go on this 1st fret on the A string to the 3rd fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So all the down strums, all the down strokes and down strums are going to be exactly on beat. But that up is going to be kind of swung a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So even if you're doing this, so all the downs are going to be exactly bum, 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 no matter what. But that up, not the ding 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 the guy and ding the guy and ding the guy bing bing bum 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 bum. Well, I still kind of swung it. It's kind of in me. So So that's the feeling that we're going through. So let's start with the first thing. Let's bring the bass line in. So here's the first one. This is literally the first one in the video that I tried to keep it in order. So and the way you play that, I've already kind of showed you how to play that in the 3rd fret. So you're doing that, but you're playing the, so 1st fret, 3rd fret of the A string, and then 3rd fret of the E string. So that's just how you play that. That's how you play it. Okay, maybe after that. And also remember, like, you know, there may be some chromatic elements where you play the chord, but you're sliding into the chord as well. So here, so I chromatically 1 fret down flat. So you might see that, okay? And even if you don't see it, it's like, it's okay as long as you respect what you're sliding into. Okay? So that's kind of what I did. Now I didn't hear them do that, but that's just something that I do when I play. All right? All right. So back, we're here. Let me see if I can go all the way down. So that's like a lick that he did. And I'll save that for like another video. Okay, as well as this. That's like a old school lick, you know, done on guitar quite a bit. Okay. I'll save that for another video. So let's do the next one. Oh, we can bring this in. It's just a little synth. I didn't find the exact right sound. Don't ridicule me. That's the sound I decided to use. So here's another one. We just did that. Let's do this. All right, it's coming back in. 2, 3, 4. Real easy. Okay. So for this one, all right. So here's how that sounds. That same triad that I showed you in the beginning. And then at the end, you're on the 8th fret playing that triad, but you're going to take your middle finger and you're going to hammer onto the G string in the 9th fret. Okay. So we're going to play that minor triad at first. And then we're going to lift. All right. Now, the way you play that is in your 8th fret on your D and B string. 8th fret, 7th fret on the G string. So that's like a minor triad. And then you come over and then you bring all of them in the 8th fret on the D, G, and B string, and then hammer on to the 9th fret on the G string. So, and then you just let go. So I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to put the bass plate, I'm going to put the bass line in there. Okay, when it comes together, it sounds right, you know what I'm saying? All right, I'm going to play it live. I'm saying, there's little elements that you can add to it. Okay. All right. So let's go to the next lick. All right. Let's go. It's sort of the same thing, but it just goes the whole time. So there was a time that they did that throughout the whole thing. Okay, and I think the actual horns were doing another lick, and I show it in another part of this video. But I'm going to take that synth away and play this. And I think they played this horn line. They played this. Something like that. Let me see how it sounds all together. All right, so that's another lick. So yeah, that's that. So that was what, number 3? That was lick number 3. I normally think of licks as like a scale, but funk riff, whatever. I mean, I might have another guitar teacher come over here. What it really is listen. So what? You know what I'm saying? All right, let's bring the bass line back. All right, let's hear the next one. Yeah, that was the one I was talking about. That was the one I was just talking about. I really heard him play this with the horn players, and it wasn't like throughout the entire 8 bars or whatever, but I heard him play it. So this is like a double stop riff, okay? So think, even though we're in the key of C, you know, you almost want to think in the key of D sharp major and kind of reference that. But I'm basically hammering on the B and E string on the 8th and 6th frets. All right, you got that part? So you can lift, or you can, you know, remember your downs are right on the count. The up is kind of like shifted a little bit. Now that is also in the 8th fret, but now you're on the G and B string. So at first you're on the B and E string, then you're on the G and B string. Once you do this, now you're going to kind of shift your shape a little bit and go to the G and B string still, but you're on, as far as that G string, you're on the 5th fret, and on the G string, you're on the 5th fret. On the B string, you're in the 6th fret. Then you want to slide down a whole step. So now you're on the G string 3rd fret, B string 4th fret, and then slide back up to the 5th and 6th fret. So you know what I'm saying? And you can do stuff, within that, but that's really mainly a horn line. But I noticed that he was tracing the horn line. I noticed he was doing it. And this actually sounds pretty sweet with the synths. You know what I'm saying? Because it's really supposed to be a horn line. And I'm gonna do like I'm gonna kind of like take a deviation, not a deviation, but a little break, and then just show you this part. Okay, this is like one of the more simpler lines that you don't want to take for granted. And you can play it in several places on the guitar neck. So right now, from the 3rd fret on the D string, okay, as well as on the G string, you're playing the 3rd and 5th fret. Don't take that for granted, okay? All right. Now, one of the keys to this is you have to play under the string, okay? You got to kind of come this way at this angle. Your pick is kind of pointing at your face. Make the pick point at your face, okay, towards your body a little bit, and dig under the string. And you want to hit the string not on the top, perpendicular. You don't want to always make your guitar pick perpendicular to the string, because that's a good strumming thing. And sometimes you want to angle the pick, at an angle sideways, but sometimes you got to angle it towards your face, but kind of towards your body diagonally, so that when you're digging in the string, okay, and you have to figure out the pressure that you're actually like holding the pick, so that you're not like about to pop the string. It won't pop, but you want to maintain rhythm at the same time. So you're figuring out the balance of what your wrist is doing, how tight you're holding the pick, and how close you stay to the string in order to keep that rhythm going. So you don't want to hold it so tight, but you want to loosen it to where there's a little bit of flexibility and you can maintain that rhythm well, okay? Okay, so let's keep that in mind. Hush. Let's go to the next lick. Let's go. And as you notice, like some of these, not that it's getting more complicated, but I kind of showed the more simple ones at first, and then they start to get a little more intricate and more nuanced as far as how you play those licks. So now let's go back to the 8th fret and go ahead and play the right here on the 8th fret. You're pretty much playing like that same thing, like D, G, B string. It's okay if you hit the E string. It's not like, a crime if you do that, but you more so got an emphasis on those 3 strings, which is D, G, and B. So now you want to play that, but you want to hammer onto the 9th fret of your G string like before. But then you want to bring your pinky over and play a whole step from that 8th fret to the 10th fret. So Now, that's one thing, but you also got to maintain your rhythm at the same time. Now, with some of these licks, some of these riffs, or whatever you want to call them, it's actually really important that you, at times, not all the time, but at times, you want to kind of use your thumb to mute some of these strings that will ring, because you want to be able to freely play on this side, and you got to kind of figure out like what that is. I'll like through experience, I've figured out how to mute things. Okay. And to be honest with you, the more you do it, the more you figure it out. Okay. So I can tell you the perfect way to do it, but it's the perfect way for me. And the more I play, the more I figure out how to mute strings. So here we go. It's all right. So you may see my thumb do this thing, and that's just to keep this from doing this. That E string, that low E string. And I'm also, at the same time, I'm using my pinky that's fretting nothing, but I'm using it to stop the notes. And then when I'm actually fretting notes, I'm fretting notes, so I can kind of, touch it there too, but you got some ghost notes happening as well. So that's pretty much how you play that. Let's do it again. And let's do that other lick on top of it too. All right, so we got that one. So now let's go to the next one. All right, I'm gonna take that synth out. Let that marinate a little bit. Come on, bass. All right, same rhythm, but now you want to go up, way up on your neck. And right now you're playing your G, B, and E string. And you're actually, let me give you a good reference. So let's practice it this way. So this is not the very same thing that I was showing you at first, but this is just something that happens to work. Okay, so let's go to our 3rd fret. All right, and let's flatten our finger there. You're not going to flatten it just hard, so, but you want to take your index finger, put that on your 5th fret on your G string, middle finger, 4th fret, B string. And you can practice it there, because right now the one that I'm showing you is a whole octave up on the same set of strings. And what I'm hammering on to is my pinky is going to that 5th fret on my E string. Okay, so that's the shape. Okay, so we're going to go up a whole octave, meaning the same notes. It's just going up here. So basically, the way that you can reference it is in this open position, the same notes are at the 12th fret. So you're going, here you're starting at that 3rd fret through the 5th fret. Well, the same thing is up here. It's like the 3rd fret through the 5th fret from the 12th fret. Okay, so 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And that's what he's playing. Okay, so that's pretty much what that is. All right, so I want this to be easier or not as hard as you think it is. All right. So that's what we're doing. Next. Let's bring the synth All right, so let's talk about that again. Remember those first chords that I was telling you? You want to always keep that in mind because, you know, these are just small deviations from the initial chords that I showed you. So back to the 8th fret, that same shape, that same minor shape, okay? All right, 8th fret on the G string, on the D string rather. 7th fret on the G string, 8th fret on the B string. And you're literally whole step apart. Okay? That's the lick for that one. And it's cool how it works. And I think it works, maybe I could talk about it later, but this note, remember I was saying that like these 3 notes is kind of what is toggling in between. Well, this shape, if you take it and take it up a whole step, that note is in there. So it's like it's sharing certain notes. So a lot of these licks share notes. It's like it goes outside a little bit and then comes back inside. So that's just a lick. All right. Oh, what am I doing? I'm not even on the screen. Let's go. All right. So that's what I was playing. All right. Again, chromatically, we're not even, I mean, you can call it chromatically, but you can go down a half step and just slide into it. As long as your rhythm is right, you're good. Even that works. So let me see. Let's see how it sounds. I hadn't tried that before. So it's cool how it happens to work. Okay. Let's go to the next one. All right, we're gonna take the synth out on this because they weren't playing the synth on every single part. All right, so this one is, how did I even play that? Oh, I played it down. Yeah. So that's like, still, yeah, 8th fret, you know what I'm saying, on the D, G, and B string. And while I'm doing that with my index finger, I'm coming up and then I'm actually slapping down on the D string from the 8th to the 10th fret. So this is where it is very important to know that skill of like how to actually like dig up under the string, like chicken picking. Basically, you're chicken picking. You're under. You know what I'm saying. You can't let go of this pick. You got to know what that balance is. But when I was doing this, those are the same notes right here. But when you do it, so down, up. So the more you do this, you can see that you utilize this motion to play other notes. So you don't take that motion away. That's actually kind of hard. So slowly. So one of my methods is slowing it down first and making sure that I have it sounding right and then speed it up. I try not to get it fast like at first. And some people don't stand by that, but I do. So slight correction. I am on the 8th fret, but this is the dominant 7th shape. So it's not, I mean, you can play the minor, but you can also play that dominant 7th one. So here we go. So that's pretty much how that goes. So dog, I wasn't counting them. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was the 8th one. All right, that was 8. Here's 9. Ooh. Ooh, I gotta show you how to do this one. I was gonna do a part 1 and part 2 of this video, but we're gonna keep it on one. Oh goodness. Still chicken picking. And this is when it's really important. So back to this 3rd fret. So again, we're literally hanging on to these same shapes and we're just doing stuff around it that actually just makes it cool, I guess. So instead of just, notice how I have my pick sort of parallel to the strings. Well, this time we got to angle it up, remember? And we got to, and we're only focusing on 2 strings at a time. At this angle, you're really only going to hit 2 strings when you're plucking up. You're probably not going to hit 3. You're probably going to hit 2. And if you're digging from the bottom, you'll hit 2. You come to the next one. It just depends on where you are. So after you play that, really get that down. And this does take some time to get down to be able to play rhythm from that position, just playing 2 strings where you're not having to play that top string like that. You end up hitting that top string, but being able to play a middle set of strings is a thing in itself. Okay. So let me just play the drum track real quick. All right. So yeah, being able to do that. And so right now I'm playing the D and G string. So now I'm going to play the G and B. D and G. G and B. Okay, so that time I played the B and E. So actually practicing that so that you can move around. Notice Prince, he played all of that inside of one song. What made him want to play 13 to 15 licks within one song? And none of them are identical. They're like all kind of different. So that's, you know, we still learning from them. We're still learning from them. So here we go. I'm going to show you the next part of that same lick. All right. So let's keep that other one in our back pocket. And we're going to go to the A and D string on the 1st and 2nd fret. I still got my pick kind of angled up toward my neck and my face. And let's go to the A string first fret and third fret. So here's the rhythm. Da da da. Backwards. Let's do it. So notice that I'm actually playing on the D string, first fret, second fret, and on the A string, I'm playing third fret, first fret. So that's how that sounds. So when you put it together, ooh, it took me about 10 times to record that one. So I'm gonna see if I get it. Maybe I won't. Yeah, so you got to kind of manhandle that one in order for it to be on point. All right, let's go to the next one. Also, this was another horn part. I don't know if I did that right. All right. Okay, so, horn part again, but he did trace it for like just a bit. Okay, so back to one of the first chords that I showed you. Again, that same triad from the D to B string. It's the same one. Okay, but now let's just emphasis on G and B string, and we want to come in chromatically just a half step lower, and we want to slide into that initial chord. So okay, then just chromatically go down half step, half step. So then we're gonna do that hammer on the 8th fret to the 9th fret on the G string, and then do the hammer on from the 8th fret to the 10th fret, like from those earlier ones. So it looks like this. Which we played that earlier. So that's that one. So actually I like that one when they did it. Here's the next one. So this was, oh goodness, did I count it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here's the 10th one. Oh, we just did 10. 11. Here's the 11th one. Horn part. All right, so this was I got a little carried away. Another horn part, and it's simple, but again, it's a feel. It's a feel. So G and B strings, and you're hammering on from the 8th to the 10th fret. That's literally it. And then, well, that's not just it. So after you do the, let's go over here. See? I'm just using other fingers to actually like, but again, G and B strings. And you can put that, you can put that high E on there too. That actually, that fits. But at the end of that lick, you're going to go back to that 8th fret, and then that. So, you know what I'm saying? That part is a little kind of tricky. Little tricky at the end, but the rhythm. Saying? So was that 11? Was that 11? Yeah, so this is 13. Ooh. Okay, yeah, so at the end, he was doing this lick that it don't even really go, but I'm going to show it. I'm going to show it either way. Doesn't go, but he did this. Hey, I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at it, okay? So even though the bass line was like, you know, again, the emphasis is on it snapping back to the C. Okay? So that's really the key. With funk, you want to always figure out that main note that everything is hanging on. And you want to find creative ways to go back to it and go back to it at the right time. Okay? Which is normally the one. Funk it's all about the one, which is, you know, it's interesting that he named it 1 + 1 + 1 is 3, which I think he was highlighting the number 3. But anyway, funk is bringing it back to the one. So maybe there was like a divine meaning behind the 3 or whatever. So going back to that C, 3rd fret, but he was actually playing like a C9 chord or something like with that voicing. All right. Some can play like whenever you play like a C9, you can almost always play a dominant 7th in that same like way. So if you were to play a dominant 7th in this C position, so here's a C major, here's a C dominant 7, here's that C9. Wait, is that even a C9? Okay. Yeah. So it's just using that the 1, 2, that 3, the dominant 7 and the 9, right? Yeah. Yep. So he just got on this, which was 3rd fret, A string is where I have my middle finger. 2nd fret is where I have my index finger on the D string, and on the G and B strings, 3rd fret, and I got my ring finger and pinky on those. Okay, so that's how that sounds. Okay. kind of has a dominant seventh. You can kind of play some of the same things, but the same thing applies. Is you can slide into it, or you can go a half step sharp. So that's what he did. Okay, and I wouldn't normally hear someone say that, but I kind of like that. Okay, so here's how it sounds. I think that's what I played. Yeah, that sound is crazy, because you can do all types of stuff with that. Okay, that particular riff, or whatever you want to call it, if you sort of deviate, if you sort of swing it a little bit more, it makes it a little more like, ooh, make people cringe a little bit, at the sound. It's like, ooh, that type of thing. So if you just do the, it's not enough. You got to kind of, make people cringe a little bit. All right, now let's go to this next one. What did that mean? Okay, so here's that one. Let's see if I can remember it. Okay, so yeah, there we go. So how do we play that? Still utilizing some of the same notes, okay? But now we want to do an open D. So right there's our D string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth string up. First fret. And then we're going to go to the A string, first fret. So D string open, first fret, second fret. So that's it. A little tricky because one is an open string going to the second fret, the other one is first fret going to the third fret. So you're literally in kind of chucking it in between. Which is not easy. And you actually just want to use your pinky to do that so that you already have access to the notes over here. Okay. And it's just figuring out like how to make that fit. So let me see if I can do it. Okay. Those are all the licks. And I think he did a couple more. Let's see how this sounds right here. Yo, I just gave y'all 13 licks, and you can actually use these in other songs and things, okay? I'll go over like one of the others that I did just kind of in between, but I don't want to like overload the situation. But I'm just saying, this is what Prince gave us in one So, I mean, and he just up there having fun. I think this was 2000, early 2000s. But man, that is it. That is it. Uh, I want to go into some deeper stuff. And to be honest with you, again, I gotta keep it exclusive for people who are in the community. So there are some things I'm gonna give them that I won't actually give the YouTube, but I'm still giving y'all free stuff. So yeah, that's how it is. So hit the link if you want to. Otherwise, I showed you where all the notes were, and I hope that this was helpful. And I will see y'all later. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe if you would like to. Like if you would like to. I think it makes more sense that if you want to hit a thumbs down, you just don't hit anything at all. But subscribe if you would like to. Share it if you would like to. All of that stuff is very helpful. And the more I can do this, or the more I'm supported in this, the more I can do it. So just, look at it that way. If I have to be creative about recording videos, because people look at it and don't do the simple stuff like, and this is true for any other YouTube channel. It's just, it doesn't make it harder for me, because I'm going to keep doing what I do, and then I'm going to just run into somebody who wants to support. So that's what it is. Thank you all so much. Even if you just watched it all the way through, I love you. Thank you. And share it if you would like to. And I think that's all. I think I already said that. I think that's all I want. But I hope that was helpful for y'all. And I hope that it helps you for like funk and just some other stuff. And I may stay kind of close to this as a series for a little bit of time. So, all right. I love y'all. Appreciate it. Peace. All right. So there was one that I forgot. I think his name is Greg. He was on trombone. And Prince was like, all right, break it down. On the one. And then, they broke it down on the one. And then Prince was playing a chord progression while they was breaking it down. And here's what I think that he played. So it was like on the one, boom, 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 dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that's what I think he played. So this is a C minor, which is what I think he played, a C minor 7. Okay, C minor 7. Then this is a F dominant 7th. So you're referencing kind of on that A string on the 8th fret, and you're playing a F dominant 7th from that string. So that's like you're doing it. Okay. Then just go up a third. Actually, a major third in terms of intervals. Same shape. Then go down a half step. Still a dominant 7th. So break it down. You know what I'm saying? Going back to the thing. So again. Trombone. So that's what I think it did. Then on the other part, I think Eric broke it down. He broke it down with Eric, the other saxophone player. And when he did that, break it down on the one, this time still a C, but it's a C11. So you got C11. Then this is a F9. Then this is a B flat, I think 13. Let me see. That's what that is. So the first chord, C11, F9, B flat 13. And then the last two chords is actually, if I'm thinking about it, I think that's what he did. So F sharp, G sharp. So G sharp 9. Then a G9. So it's just the same chord. So C11, F9, B flat 13. And then a G sharp 9. So those were the last, those last chords, I probably named them wrong, but they're pretty close. I know that the root notes are correct. So I'm going to add this in with the main video. But all right, y'all. Again, I love you. Peace. Let me know if you got some questions too. All right. Peace.